I'm before work, so I don't have much time, but sometimes you just have to make the time. And I want to speak to the great unconformity and tapeats sandstone, which I learned are actually underwater deposits uh, that likely were many miles offshore. So I want to refer to a couple of videos, but this absolute Nobel Prize video, but he's very private. I don't know his name, but it's called Earth and Time, and the keywords are ancient ocean floor exposed. Geology of the San Clemente State Beach, California's coastline holds some of the most dramatic blah blah blah. Okay, now his video is of course much more recent deposits, but the point is that it's an exact analog for the tapeats sandstone. The tapeats sandstone are relatively deep water deposits, often referred to as beach deposits. They're not. They're underwater deposits with underwater crossbedding. And the tapeats sandstone is generally finer grained, showing that it's actually quite far. In other words, the first contact with the great unconformity, the granite Subishnu schist, the first contact was not the beach. You didn't have this granite, and then suddenly it became the beach. That after snowball Earth and the land started raising up because of the removal of the ice, and it started popping back up. You didn't suddenly have the beach with waves. And I often see comments about the Tapete sandstone that you could just picture the waves lapping at the beach. Well, it was not a beach environment. It was a relatively deep underwater environment. So that being said, let, let's click on this
And
and
talk
I'll
more about
try
the
to,
structure and
yeah,
geologic history here.
okay, now
As I head down this
I have
trail
to
towards
turn
the
down
ocean,
his.
we're going down about 100 feet of section
Okay,
here.
so let me
The
show
youngest
this.
section on
I
here is
mean, this
actually not
video
related to that old ocean
absolutely is
basin
Nobel,
that was
Pulitzer
at this
Prize,
location,
whatever you want to
but it
call it.
has to
It's
do with when the
biblical.
ocean receded and you had
That
more
helped me understand
conglomerate
things.
developed off the shelf. So rivers were dumping
Okay,
out
now see
into this
there?
area past the shelf, probably
He's
during
okay.
the
I need to
last
pause
ice age,
this.
and
Okay, now this is Los Angeles, and these river channels that we know are there are from turbidites and sand and sometimes gravel and boulders can carve these canyons underwater. These are the currents that can break cables, undersea cables. But see these channels, and so the Tapete sandstone was not deposited in this environment up here on the near the coast shelf. It was deposited down here, possibly way down here. Now picture going even further out than what this shows. I can't do it. Of course, this is a video, so I can't move on Google Earth. But that's the point. And so now I want to back up to Shawn Willsey's, if I can do it. And there it is. So Shawn Willsey went to this place. Now I'll let this play. Here it shows him going to it. So right there, see right there. And so he goes up here and see this granite, this pink granite. That's the great unconformity, Vishnu schist, and uh, pegmatites and so on and so forth. And this up above here, this is an analog for the base of Frenchman Mountain. Also the same great unconformity in the Grand Canyon. But this material is further out in the water at the time compared to the base of the Grand Canyon, where this material here was more shallow water. So anyway, this here would be the Tapeats sandstone and Bright Angel shale. But without being there, I don't want to get myself in trouble and say the wrong thing. But Bright Angel uh, tapeats sandstone, and then the Bright Angel shale, and then even then it became a shoreline battle with the ocean coming and going, and sometimes shoreline, sometimes a little underwater, sometimes above water. All this material up here, that's what that was. That's the shoreline, not the tapeats sandstone. The tapeats sandstone is not shoreline deposits. Okay, so now let me do this. Let's see, Google Earth, Task Manager. Okay, so I'm going to do this. Let's minimize this and let's minimize that and let's go to Google Earth. This guy is very private. This guy here, he doesn't say his name. Okay, so now let's go to this tapeats sandstone and the great unconformity that I'm yapping about. Okay, now here is Shawn Willsey's video. See, there it is. There's his video. So he went up here, and he didn't go up here. He had to have gone up here, and he starts coming into the deposits of the sedimentary deposits. Okay, so now let's look at the analog of this that's actually shown much better in Frenchman Mountain. It's not like he doesn't know it exists. That's not what I'm saying, that he did this video because he's further up north. And so he came here instead of Frenchman Mountain. Now let's go to Frenchman Mountain. Now remember, this material here will be the pinkish red, see how it shows up, of the great unconformity, the Vishnu schist and so on. So now let's go to Las Vegas. And there we are. We're at the same geological spot as Shawn Willsey's video. And the concepts here are the same as in the Earth and Time video, but his deposits, of course, are almost yesterday, geologically speaking. But the point is that it's an exact analog for the same thing that occurs elsewhere over hundreds of millions of years ago. And so here is the reddish pinks and so on of the great unconformity in here. Of course, I've been all along here. Everybody has. Here's the Bright Angel shale. See how green it is, and the tapeats sandstone is in there. I hope I didn't get them reversed. But the tapeats sandstone was underwater deposits, and then shallow water with the trilobites. That's what this green is. If you want to go up and find trilobites, they're right here. They're right in there. That's what these digs are. And then above that, then you have the shoreline deposits of a sandy mix, limestone mix. That's what that is. That's what all this stuff here is. That's shoreline, not the tapeats sandstone down here. Okay, so anyway, I didn't picture this getting 9 minutes, but there you go.